Hi everyone, it's Stacy. Thank you for coming on this yoga leap with me. Welcome back to those of you who have been practicing with me for upwards of 2 years now, kind of officially this week. And welcome to anyone finding the videos for the first time. So as you can see, I do have my chair here in the background. Today I'm mostly going to stay in the chair. So I often move from the chair to the mat and vice versa. But today I'm going to try something that's a little outside my comfort zone. I do it every once in a while where I just try to stay in the chair and complete my asana physical practice in the chair. It allows me to kind of dig into that beginner mindset. Sometimes we forget, we focus so much on being better and the best, and we forget that we want to try to be beginners and try to remember to be learning in every practice. And so by switching up where we might practice, so for me, I don't always stay in the chair, it helps me go, oh, this feels new in this posture because I'm in the chair today. So I encourage you to try something different today. If you tend to get out of your chair, maybe try sticking it out in the chair. If not, you know, there's always variations. You can always flow through vinyasas or cat-cows on all fours. And you can always practice on the mat as well. But like I said, I'll be cueing from the chair today. Other than the chair, I won't be really using any props. If you have props you like to practice with, by all means, grab them now and I'll meet you back there to get started. Whew. Okay, so like I said, I'm mostly going to be staying in my chair today, but if you're choosing to practice on your mat, you can start seated. Or lying down if that feels better. It's gonna be a nice gentle practice today. I'm feeling kind of stiff, feeling a little bit, I mentioned at the beginning of the video that it's been 2 years. This week does kind of mark that 2 years ago I was doing this when the world shut down, and it's anywhere sort of from today through to the end of the week where your 2-year mark might be. So feeling a little bit like I just want some grounding and some calmness, and even although I don't like to live in the past too much, thinking about that trip I took right before the pandemic hit and just thinking back to those times, knowing that we're going to get back to better times soon. We will get there. So we're just sort of honoring where we are now with a little bit of reflection and a little bit of looking forward into a better future, I hope. So let's start with a little bit of quiet seated breathing. So settle in. If you have a back on your chair, maybe you could use the support of the chair to help rest the back. We don't want to be slouching. We want to make sure we're really rooting down through the sit bones, feeling the shoulders roll up and down the back. Hands can be on the lap, turned up or turned down. Like I said, I'll be looking for some grounding in the practice today, which means I might want to turn my hands down. You might choose to do the same. If you're looking to bring a little more energy into your practice and body, turning the hands up will invite that sort of energizing energy into the practice. So settling in here, if it's comfortable, closing the eyes. If not, just maybe turning the gaze down towards the floor and finding something nice and still to let the gaze softly rest on. And then wherever we are, whether our eyes are open or resting softly on a space in front of us, let's just start to tune into our breath, just breathing normally. We don't want to alter the rhythm of the breath. Just let it come and go. Notice if maybe it's deep or shallow, fast or slow. Notice if maybe the breath is coming deep from the belly, or is it a little bit higher up in the chest? And there's no right or wrong. We're just trying to notice where the breath is flowing before we start to alter it. Take a few more breaths, just noticing. And then start to deepen the breath. Maybe think about expanding the belly forwards and backwards into the chair, expanding outwards through the ribs and the chest as we inhale. And then let everything draw back in towards the core on the exhale. Inhale to fill belly, ribs, and chest. And exhale, chest, ribs, and belly. Inhale, belly, ribs, and chest. Exhale, chest, ribs, and belly. So of course, we're breathing at our own pace. Do a few more rounds just like that. Maybe inhaling for a count of 3 or 4 or 5 or 6. And then try to find the same count for the exhale, whether that's 3, 4, 5, 6. Find that equal ratio breath work, just to try to bring a bit of calmness to the nervous system. Find 2 more rounds. And then as we continue to find a nice deep breath, maybe turning our attention to our physical body, so we can notice starting at the bottom of the feet or the sit bones, depending on how we've started our practice. Notice the connection to the mat or the floor. Notice the connection to the chair if we're in the chair, maybe behind the thighs. Notice the connection of the hands on the thighs, and is that our palms? Do we feel some heat building, or are our palms turned up? We can feel the connection of the back of the hands on the thighs if that's the case. Notice as well if we have a chair or any other prop, where that prop or chair is connected to our bodies. So maybe it's our back if we're leaning back. Taking a few more breaths in stillness here, and maybe taking these breaths to set an intention if that's part of your practice. It's kind of like creating a little motto, a little mantra you can say to yourself if you find that you really start to drift away from the movements of the physical practice. Like I said, although we'll be kind of thinking back, we don't want to dwell in that past. That 2 years ago, that March 2020, it's in the past. We've moved on from that. We are here now in March 2022. And similarly, we don't mind looking forward to the future as things progress and change, but we don't want to sort of live there either. We have the moment now to live. But sometimes on anniversaries like today and this week, we can't help but reminisce a bit. Think about where we are now and where we might be headed, and that's okay. Just always find your way back to the present moment with that mantra. When we feel ready, let's move into a bit of cat-cow. We can keep the eyes closed or turn the gaze down, flutter the eyes open. And we can take our hands, if the palms are turned up, let's turn them down so we can sort of grab onto our knees and our thighs. This is going to help us lift and pull the heart space through. So we're thinking about pulling the heart space through and inhaling here, finding a big open front side body for our cow. From the side, I've got a bit of a curve in my back. I'll turn to show you our seated cat-cow. We pull the heart space through and lift it up. So I'm not dumping into my back here. I'm lifting up and out of the heart space, maybe looking up as well. And then we'll start to round, press into the knees and thighs, press the shoulder blades away. So we can really use the grounding and connection of our thighs and knees here to help us flow through our seated cat-cow. When we're ready, we can inhale. So start to lift, 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 and then open up through the front side body, maybe even circling the shoulders down and back. This is our inhale. Of course, you can be on all fours, finding your cat-cow. Start to round through the spine here, pressing into the thighs to splay the shoulder blades. I'm going to turn back to the camera. Keep going. Inhale, open up. Exhale, round through the spine, splay the shoulder blades. Inhale. And exhale. Moving a couple more times with your breath here. Really using the connection of the knees to help deepen the spinal movements here. On the next inhale, let's sit up nice and tall, neutral spine. We release the hands, we'll roll the shoulders A couple times in one direction and then the other. All right, let's settle into our either mountain pose, standing, seated, or in the chair here in a bit of a mountain pose. Step the feet about hip width, lift and spread the toes. Really try to root down through the sit bones. And if you have a back of your chair, make sure you just moved a little away from it so that we're not using the back to slouch. We want to use a bit of our core strength here. We're going to start to energize a little bit with our breath. Inhale, sweep the arms up. Let's exhale them right back down to our sides. We'll do a couple rounds like this. Nice big breath. Inhale, reach, 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 reach. Even the shoulders are going to reach up, fingertips reach up. We can look up and then exhale. Let's do one more like that. Inhale, root down through the sit bones and the feet as we reach through the fingertips and the crown of the head. Reach, reach, reach long. Exhale. Okay, let's inhale one more time like this. As we exhale, let's bring our hands to cactus. And then on the next inhale, we'll just sort of tip the elbows forward and palms up towards the ceiling. This is going to naturally sort of open up the chest a little bit, like in our cat-cow. Good. And then we'll exhale through center. Inhale to reach up. And exhale, cactus arms. Inhale, open. Exhale, center. Inhale, lift. Exhale, cactus arms. Inhale, open up. Tilt the elbows up towards the ceiling. Exhale, come back through center. Inhale. Let's exhale all the way down behind us. Hopefully we have room behind our chair. If not, just scoot yourselves forward on the chair a little bit. See if we can either reach behind us as if we're just holding on to some kind of big sort of beach ball, or maybe we can even clasp the knuckles. We're seated in our chair. I'm just turning to show you as we clasp the knuckles, see if we can draw the palms together and reach the knuckles down back behind us. Only if we have room and of course flexibility in the shoulders to do that. Otherwise, just sort of squeeze that imaginary ball behind you, open up through the front side body. Good. From here, let's step the feet a little wider. We can stay seated like this with our chest open as we take nice big breaths. Or on the exhale, we can start to hinge forward and reach the knuckles up towards the ceiling here. This might feel a little intense this early on, so we could opt out of that. Just stay nice and open and lifted here. Good, stay for another breath. Inhale. Exhale, and if you've folded forward on the inhale, by your knuckles, pull yourself all the way up to standing. Good. Release the hands, shake it out, step the feet back in. Let's inhale, sweep the arms up. Exhale, let's find those cactus arms. Good. Inhale, open up. Exhale. Inhale to reach. Excellent. Exhale one more time behind, cross the opposite finger in front. So how you would normally cross your hands, try and find the opposite. It'll feel a little weird and wild. That's good. We just want to wake the body up a little bit. And same option here, step the feet back wide or stay lifted or fold forward. Awesome. Let's take one more big inhale as we pull ourselves all the way back up. Exhale, release. Roll the shoulders in the opposite direction. Step the feet back in. All right. All right, let's get a bit of side stretching going. So let's reach the arms up on the inhale. Option here to reach and catch for your wrist with opposite hand, or to find opposite elbows here. So you can just be reaching and we're going to side bend this way, pulling this way, or this way, grabbing onto the wrist and sort of stretching. Or come along with me just for something different today. We want to try and clasp our elbows here, still nice and tall through the spine. Inhale, On the exhale, we'll tip over to one side. So we want to stay nice and rooted through the opposite hip. So stay connected here. We want to stay nice and grounded through this side. Don't let it come up off the chair. I'd fall out of my chair if I wasn't rooted down nice and deeply through my opposite body side here. I have to be mindful of that. That has happened. Good, so we're feeling a nice big stretch all down the one side. Stay for another breath. Remember, we might have our wrist and we might just be sort of gently guiding the wrist overhead. On the next inhale, come up through center. If you want to switch the clasp here of the elbows and or switch to the wrists, go ahead and do that. I forget how I had mine now. I think that feels like the opposite side. Good. Inhale and then exhale. Let's find that deep side bend. Again, staying where you are with your arms. You want to stay nice and heavy through this side body here. We don't want to lift up here. Stay nice and grounded. Find that big side bend. All right, let's come back up through center on the inhale. Exhale, release. Give the shoulders a roll. Shake out the arms. Whew. All right, let's do a couple of sort of flows with our breath. Let's inhale, sweep the arms up. Let's exhale into cactus. Inhale, open. This time exhale, let's dive down the legs. Good. And then inhale all the way up. Exhale, open. Inhale. And dive. Exhale. One more time. Inhale. Exhale, open. Inhale. And dive. Exhale. Round through that spine. Stay down here. Option to grab onto opposite wrists, or elbows rather, or just let the hands dangle down. Let the head shake yes and no. And then when we're ready, we can bring our hands to our thighs to help us roll the spine up. Head and shoulders come up last. Awesome. Okay, let's do a little bit of movement with the legs. We'll engage the core a little bit here, work on our balance a little bit, and then we'll do a few more upper body stretches. It's feeling really good. I think we're, you know, as I talked about this 2-year mark in the pandemic, maybe we're either letting go of stress, maybe we're carrying a bit more, who knows, but I'm really enjoying sort of opening up through the upper half of the front side body and trying to bring in some joy and just really enjoying that. So we'll do a bit more upper body stretching in a minute. But for now, let's lift up our right foot off the mat. And also, if we feel nice and strong and stable, opposite arm. Good, let's lower down. Let's try it with the other side. So we'll lift our left foot, right arm. It feels pretty good. I feel nice and confident. I'm gonna switch sides, inhaling and exhaling. So we're doing opposite one, each movement. So it takes a little bit of core strength to hold us nice and steady on the chair. We want to feel like our hips aren't swaying all around. So we're really rooting down, engaging the core, creating a little bit of movement and heat building as well. Good. Okay, so once we get that down and we feel pretty confident, we can start to add on. So this time we're going to lift our foot. You can continue with where we were, or we can use the core strength, round through the spine and draw across the center line of the body and have the elbow and knee connect. And then inhale for length again, exhale. And then we're going to switch sides, so all the while keeping our hips nice and strong and steady. As we exhale here, we're going to round through the spine, cross the center line of the body with the elbow and knee. They're going to connect. And then find that length again. And exhale. Whew, that's not easy. Inhale. Exhale. Cross that center line. All right. Inhale. Opposite arm and foot. Really rooting down. Engage through the core. Round through the spine. Connect elbow to knee. So we're crossing that center. And extending. Okay, one more on each side. Inhale. Exhale, round, tap elbow and knee. length. Last one, inhale. And lower. Awesome. Okay. That takes a little bit of hip work. Let's do a little bit of hip stretching, hip flexor stretching. So a couple of options for the chair or the floor. So you could do reverse tabletop, and in the chair, I'll show you the option for that. Or we're going to turn, so I'll just show you the option for the reverse tabletop in the chair. You don't have to move your chair. I'm just moving mine so I can show you what it might look like from the side. We have done this one before. So when you're in your chair, just scooching a little bit forward, you know, depending on what type of chair you have, bringing the hands behind you on the chair, planting the feet about hip width, and then opening up, lift the hips. So it looks the same on the floor as well, except that you'd be in a sort of reverse tabletop on the floor. And then you'll get a little bit of a stretch through the front side body of the hips. Otherwise, the next option, I'm just putting my chair back to how it was, is a little bit of a hip flexor stretch. I'm going to turn to one side here. My right leg is in front and it's supported by the chair. I'm going to step the left leg back. Knee can be bent or straight if that feels better for you, depending on how flexible you are. We want to think about sort of tilting this pelvis and getting it straight underneath hips, shoulders, and having this nice long line. Here's where we'll feel that stretch in the hip flexor. That's what we want. So play around with that. You might have this sort of bend 90 degree. You might have it a little more straight, but then think about tucking the pelvis under. Think about drawing the hip creases up towards the ribs and finding that hip flexor stretch. Woo, that's a little deep for me when I've had my leg a little too stretched out behind me. So I'm going to find that bend, find that pelvic tilt, find that hip flexor stretch. Good. I'm holding onto my chair for support here. If you are not practicing with the chair, woo, might be on the ground looking like this, maybe using the chair for support or not. And you might have 90-degree bends, or you might have a little more openness in the hips here, and you can send the hips forward. So any variation, we've got our reverse tabletop option, we've got our seated chair hip flexor stretch, or supported by the chair but on the floor hip flexor stretch. Good. All right. Let's take one more breath here. Nice deep hold. And then we'll make our way out of this stretch, and we're going to switch sides. So if you are in the chair, of course, we're going to step through center, swing around to the other side. This time our left leg will be supported by the chair here, left thigh supported by the chair, right leg steps out behind, and we're going to play with that length. We're going to play with that pelvic tilt and find that hip flexor stretch. So I'm feeling a little more open in this side. I know I said I was going to stay in the chair, and I'm still going to use the chair for support, but I'm going to make my way back down to the floor. I think I liked that option a little bit better, but as you can see, I'm using my chair for support here. So I'm still using the chair, and it's not always an option for me. So this does feel quite new, and I still feel like I'm in that beginner mindset. Okay, let's find that hip flexor stretch on the other side. We're going to stay for a few breaths. Keep tilting the pelvis, keep drawing it up and under the hips. Find a few breaths here. All right, let's make our way back to the front. So I'm going to make my way back up to the chair. I'm going to turn around to the front and step my feet nice and wide here, settling in on the chair. Let's do a couple of inhales. Exhale option here to support on the thighs. Maybe there's a block, or maybe we're going to fold all the way forward, depending on how you feel in your chair, how supported you feel. Let's go halfway. So hands might come to the thighs and then melt back down. And then we'll come up all the way. Again, we can move the hands through the thighs as we come all the way up. Good. Well, let's find a bit of a side breath and side opener. Let's start by reaching. If you're on the floor sitting in a straddle, You'll reach your right arm along the right leg here. If you're in the chair here with me, option to have the hand on the right knee, or maybe find a little bit of a deeper stretch by bringing elbow to knee. We want to keep the front of the body facing forward. And option here as well is to maybe open up the arm if you feel like you don't need the support of the elbow in the knee. Awesome. And then from here, let's imagine we've clapped our hands and we're going to sort of draw open like a bow and arrow. Take a big inhale here. Hold it for a couple rounds of breath, and then we're going to move with our breath a little bit. So keep thinking about pressing the arm into the leg, leg into the arm. That helps kind of open up the space for this breath. And now let's move with our breath. Let's exhale, bring it down. A little soft clap, and then inhale to open. Exhale down. A little soft clap. Inhale, open. And one more time. Exhale. Let's do one more big inhale here. Let's bring the hand down and maybe using a bit of help, elbow, any kind of prop here. And we're going to bring ourselves back up through center. Awesome. Take a big breath. Inhale. Exhale. Let's fold forward. Remember, we can use our hands for support here. Inhale to flat back halfway. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, let's come all the way up. Awesome. Other side. So again, if you're on the floor, just reach left arm along left leg. If you're in the chair here with me, maybe elbow finds knee. Maybe we open up here. And if we're pressing the arm into the knee and the knee into the arm, what that does right away is kind of opens me up this way. And then I can find that nice big stretch. Whoops, let's start down here. A little soft clap. Inhale. Good. Stay here for a couple of breaths. Really think about pressing the arm into the leg, leg into the arm so that we open up. We're not kind of collapsing down here. Press. See, as soon as I press, my body starts to open and the arms follow. And I've got this nice big wide wingspan. Take another breath. All right, let's move with our breath here. Let's exhale, soft clap. Inhale to reach. Exhale. Soft clap. Inhale to reach. Exhale. Soft clap. Let's take a big inhale. Exhale here. Good. Let's take one final inhale. I lied there. Good. And with our strength of our core, or if we need a little bit of help, let's come back up through center. Lower the arms. Inhale, sweep the arms. Exhale, fold forward, hands to knees, block if you have it, or the floor. Hang out here for a breath. Option to walk ourselves over to one side, through center, and to the other side. Back through center. Now let's maybe use the support of our hands. And we'll inhale all the way back up to seated. Good. Let's step the feet back to the front. Feet are still rooting down into the mat. They're about hip width. Let's stretch out the arms a little bit more. So a couple of options here. Let's bring our hands up shoulder height. We can cross right over left and give ourselves a little hug by grabbing onto opposite shoulders. This is great. If you stay here, your options are to sort of stay upright or maybe melt down, and that's perfect. Or maybe you want to come into a bit more of a bind where we're going to wrap the arms and the palms will connect in front of us. Here I am. And we can lift our elbows here and reach up, 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 or just like before, maybe round down. So a couple of choices wherever we're feeling we need to stretch. I'm opening up through the backside body a little bit more. Root down through the feet. Don't let anything get too sloppy yet. On the inhale, come on up. And exhale, release. Good, let's inhale. Exhale into those cactus arms. Inhale. Exhale, dive. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale, dive. One more. Inhale. Exhale, cactus. Inhale. Exhale, dive down those legs. Good. Inhale, come on up. On the exhale, let's bring those hands in front. We'll cross the opposite arm in front. So this one, I'm going to cross my left over. And again, we have the option to reach back for those shoulder blades, stay upright or round down. Or of course, come into this nice bind. And option, of course, is to stay upright, maybe even lifting the elbows, pulling the hands away from the face, opening up through front side body, and or rolling and rounding down. So when you're rounding down, still think about sort of actively splaying the shoulder blades, so actively kind of pulling the elbows and palms away from the face. All right, one more round of breath. And then let's inhale. Exhale, release. Oh, let's just shake it all out. Good. Okay. There's a lot of good upper body stretching. Let's do a couple of twists here. So for our twist, let's take a few rounds of breath. Inhale. Feet are planted. We'll exhale, twist through the core, and opposite hand crosses the front body, reaches for the outside of opposite knee. Now, depending on what type of chair you have, you may find you can hold on to the back of the chair in some form, or maybe you're just reaching back behind you, maybe planting your hand on the chair or the floor, helping to find length in the spine, and then maybe looking over the shoulder. Take another breath. On the next inhale, we're going to come around to center, untwist, reach the arms up, go to the opposite side. Exhale, seat bones stay grounded. We twist from the core, the chest, and the shoulders. Hand crosses the body, and this back hand either presses into the mat behind us or maybe finds the chair for a little bit of guidance as we find length as we inhale and depth as we exhale. Pressing just like in that other big stretch, pressing into the hand, into the leg. That's going to help guide the twist around from the core, chest, shoulders. On the next inhale, let's think about untwisting, sweeping the arms up. And let's do a forward fold all the way down. Let the chest drape onto the thighs. Let the head be heavy. Your hands can reach for the floor or block or opposite elbows here. And then when we're ready, we'll release the hands. We can bring our hands to our knees to help us come on all the way back up. Awesome. All right, so a couple of options now. You can move straight into Shavasana if you're feeling like you're ready for your final resting posture. You could come into a happy baby, legs up the wall, any kind of gentle inversion that your bodies may be craving, or maybe a figure four stretch, which is what I'm going to be demonstrating, and then I'll join whoever has already moved into Shavasana. I'll join you then. So for our seated figure four, we're going to lift and flex that right foot, cross the right ankle over right knee, and this is our figure four. We might stay here. We're sitting up nice and tall, weights evenly distributed in both sit bones. We could stay here, or with a nice tall spine, we could start to hinge forward, finding that edge, and we could stay with a long spine or round down over the leg, whatever feels best for you. So I'm going to find a little bend here, but keep that nice long spine. I find it gives me a nicer stretch down the outside hip, and that's what I'm going for right now. So give that a try. If you want to fold forward, of course you can. And you might be choosing a figure 4 stretch on your back. You can reach through and draw opposite knee in towards your chest as well. We're just maintaining a little bit of a flexed foot in the right foot, the one that's crossed over. We're going to stay for 2 more rounds of breath. And when we feel ready, we can roll up or come back up to seated, let that one go, and then we'll switch sides. Lift and flex the left ankle, cross it over right knee, and again, maybe settling in here, this might feel good, and each side might feel quite different. I'm going to hinge forward with a long spine, see how that goes. I'm also going to try and fold forward, see how that goes on this side. Even here, I'm not enjoying the stretch quite as much when I round down, so I'm changing my mind. I'm going to stay with a long spine. You do you. And then when we're ready, we will bring ourselves back up to seated, uncross the legs, maybe just windshield wiper them depending on how you are positioned on the floor or in the chair. Depending on what type of chair you have, you may or may not be able to do this one. Just give the legs a little shake. And then we will move into our Shavasana. Now in the chair, it'll be very similar to the beginning of class. Nice comfortable position. It's okay to use the back to support so that you can fully relax, but we just don't want to slouch into it. We still want to maintain some awareness of our posture and our bodies, feet grounded, hands on our lap, and again, turned down for a bit more grounding energy, turned up if you're looking to invite energy. And if it's comfortable, closing the eyes or just turning the gaze down towards the floor to find something nice and still to rest your gaze on softly. And start to scan our bodies and just notice if there are areas we're still holding on to any tension, and see if we can't just breathe a little loving kindness there and let it go. Shavasana is the time for our physical and energetic bodies to absorb all that good work we just did and turn it into something magical. It's a time for integration and rest. And know that rest is different from sleep and that we need both every day. And we should never pass up an opportunity to just rest and do nothing. And of course, the beauty of practicing through the video is that you can let the video play out or press pause and stay in your Shavasana as long as your body wants or needs. If you are ready to invite movement back in, wiggling fingers and toes, maybe even circling wrists and ankles, just waking the body up, nice gentle movements. And you may choose to curl into a little ball or stretch along the mat or in the chair. And if you are lying down, just gently making your way to a comfortable seated position. Hands can be in your lap, resting over your heart, or in prayer at the heart center, wherever you feel comfortable. I want to thank you so much for allowing me into your personal private yoga practice spaces and for allowing me to be your guide through these movements. I hope that you found a little bit of that beginner's mindset. Daylight savings is right around the corner. Spring is just around the corner. So it's nice to kind of have that fresh new outlook on your yoga practice as well. Until we have a chance to flow again, take care. Thanks everyone. I hope that you enjoyed the class. I hope that you were able to try something a little new and different, and I hope to see you again here next week. Bye.